Tyler's just my best friend. You knew that before we started dating. Yeah, she said that to my face, like it explained everything. And maybe it did. Maybe I just refused to listen. A year ago, Austin, TX, when I first met Madison, it felt like I'd won the damn lottery. She was 26, sharp as hell, had this loud laugh that made you look up from across the room. She ran a fitness blog, had 200K followers on Instagram, and called herself a holistic wellness educator, which, honestly, I didn't understand at first, but it didn't matter. She was magnetic. You couldn't not be drawn to her. I'm Ethan, 29, software dev, not flashy, quiet type. You know, meal prep Sundays, spreadsheets for no reason, kind of guy who gets excited over a clean desk. Somehow, she liked that about me, or at least I thought she did. First 3 months. Too good to be real. It was wild in the beginning. Constant calls, 3 a.m., FaceTimes, goofy voice notes in the middle of the day. She told me she never felt this safe with anyone. And, damn it, I believed her. She even cooked for me once. It was quinoa and kale, but hey, effort. Then came Tyler. Oh, by the way, my best friend Tyler's coming into town this weekend. Can't wait for you two to meet. Sure, cool. I'm not the jealous type. Tyler walks in and right away I feel like I've stepped into someone else's dynamic. Inside jokes, weird pet names like Muffin and Dorkface, and the kind of hugs that last just a bit too long. You know when someone's laughing and you know it's about something you weren't part of? That was dinner with them. Still, I kept it together. I figured, okay, lifelong friends. She said he was like family, not my place to trip. But over time, that shit started to feel real off. 6 months in. He just needed to talk at 2 a.m. This one night, we're supposed to chill movie, Thai food, nothing fancy. She cancels last minute. Tyler had a rough day. He needs to vent. It's kind of urgent. At 9 p.m. Okay, I let it slide. Then one night I wake up around 2 a.m. to pee. And her side of the bed is empty. I walk into the living room and there she is, whispering on FaceTime with Tyler. Candles lit, blanket wrapped around her like she's grieving a ghost. I didn't even say anything, just stood there. She sees me, freaks out like I'm the one doing something wrong. Ethan, he's going through some heavy stuff. Can't you be a little more supportive? What the fuck? Last fall, concert weekend that wasn't ours. We were supposed to go on this romantic cabin getaway. Anniversary, fresh air, just us. I booked it months in advance. I even bought hiking boots, real ones. Then, 5 days before the trip, she sits me down, looking all nervous like she's about to confess to murder. So, Tyler just told me there's this music festival happening the same weekend. You know how much we love the Lumineers. Would you be super mad if I went with him instead and we rescheduled? I laughed, like actually thought she was joking, but she wasn't. And when I said, "Are you seriously choosing him over us?" she got defensive, turned it around on me. You're being controlling. You knew Tyler was in my life. Why are you trying to change me? This morning, the podcast that broke everything now. Here's where it flips. This morning, I'm on my lunch break, scrolling Spotify, and I see Tyler dropped a new episode of his podcast. It's called Heartline Stories That Sting. Guess what the title is? Toxic Energy and Emotional Insecurity, a true story from my closest friend's life. I'm curious. I shouldn't have clicked it, but I did. He starts telling this story about a guy who constantly policed boundaries and used the relationship label to control who she could talk to. No names. But bro, it was word for word our fights. The concert, the FaceTime, the nickname stuff. Then he says, and she's pregnant now. And I told her, don't let anyone shame you for being real. You're not crazy. He just couldn't handle your light. Pregnant. That was how I found out. From Tyler's podcast. Not from her, not a text, not a call, not even a note. Right now, sitting in my car, shaking. I'm writing this on my phone in the Target parking lot because I can't go back to that apartment yet. I can't breathe. I want to scream, cry, punch something, but mostly, I feel stupid. Stupid for trusting someone who never really made space for me. Stupid for believing I was the main character in a story where I was barely a background prop. And yeah, I'm pissed. But I'm also done. So fuck the podcast. Fuck the babe. It's not a big deal. Excuses. I'm getting a paternity test. And if what I suspect is true, I'm not just walking away. I'm going to tell my story. But not like them. No filters. No fake healing language. Just the truth. I didn't go home that night. I slept in my car with my jacket wrapped around me and some dumb podcast playing just so I didn't have to hear myself think. It was cold. My neck hurt. But the real pain was knowing I was the last to know something that should have been told to me first. At 8 a.m., my phone buzzed. Madison, hey babe, can we talk later? Something's been on my mind. No, Betty. You don't say. I didn't reply. Around noon, she texted again. Madison, Ethan, please, I feel like something's off. Off. No. What's off is hearing the woman you love is pregnant from her best friend's podcast. I sat there reading her messages, hands shaking, still trying to decide whether I wanted answers or just silence forever. But eventually, I went back. I needed to look her in the eye. I needed to know how far the lies went. When I walked in, she was in the kitchen, holding her mug like nothing happened, like everything was normal. She even smiled. You okay? She asked. I closed the door behind me, tossed my keys on the counter, and looked at her. You're pregnant, I said. Her face dropped, color drained. She looked down. You listened to the episode, she mumbled. I nodded once, and then came the line I'll never forget. I was going to tell you, I just didn't know how. I stared at her. She couldn't even say it like she owed it to me. Like I was someone she loved. I wasn't even worth a full explanation, just guilt and half whispers. So is it mine, I asked. Silence. Then a shrug. I think so. You think? Let me tell you something. There is no word that hits harder than I think so when you're talking about a fucking child. I felt like the floor fell out from under me. Like I wasn't even standing in my own life anymore. She started crying, like instantly, and I stood there, completely numb. Tyler doesn't want anything to do with it, she said through tears. He told me to get rid of it. Said he couldn't deal with the responsibility. Oh, so he knew before me. That was clear now. I sat down on the couch, staring at the ground. You told him first, I said. She nodded. I was scared, she whispered. I laughed. Not the funny kind. The kind of laugh that comes right before you completely lose your SHT. You were scared. You were scared. So you told the guy who knocked you up while you were dating me and left me in the dark. You were scared. So you let me plan a fucking anniversary trip while you were dealing with this SHT behind my back. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said. Jesus. How many people have said that in human history? Like affairs just happen. Like pregnancies just slip in accidentally. I stood up. I want a paternity test, I said flatly. She nodded again, too fast, like she already expected it. Then she had the nerve to say, you don't have to be mean about it. I froze. I felt my jaw clench so tight I thought my teeth might crack. I'm not being mean, I said. I'm being done. She reached out for me, but I stepped back. I need space. Don't call me. I'll contact you when the test is ready. And I left. No yelling. No slamming doors. Just that terrifying, heavy silence that falls when your entire reality collapses. The next few days were a blur. I stayed with my coworker Mark. Barely ate. Barely slept. Just kept going through every memory like I could maybe rewind something. Like if I stared long enough, I'd see the exact moment she stopped loving me. Or maybe the moment I stopped mattering. Then the test day came. She showed up at the clinic looking tired, puffy eyes. Hair tied back like she hadn't slept either. I didn't say a word to her. We went in. Swabs. Signatures. Awkward silence. She tried to talk afterward, asked if we could get lunch. I said no. She said, you don't have to hate me. I said, I just don't care anymore. And that was maybe the first time I really meant it. When the results came in, I already knew. There was a pit in my gut the size of Texas. I opened the email. Probability of paternity, 0.00%. That's it. That's all it took. Just one line of black and white truth to burn down everything I thought I had. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the wall. Then my phone lit up. Madison, did you get them? Me, yeah. Madison, can we talk? Me. There's nothing left to say. She begged to explain, said she still wanted me in her life. That the baby didn't change what we had. That was the moment I realized she wasn't sorry about what she did. She was just sorry she got caught. I blocked her. Phone, email, socials. I packed up her stuff the next day, boxed it neatly, and dropped it off at her doorstep with a sticky note that said, "This is closure. Please don't contact me again." And for the first time in months, I felt quiet. Empty, yeah, but quiet. Like I could finally hear myself again. I didn't expect peace to feel so flat. No fireworks, no dramatic final words, just silence. It had been a week since I blocked Madison. And every day felt like peeling off a layer of skin, uncomfortable, but necessary. People think anger is loud. Nah, real anger is quiet. It's restraint. It's choosing to walk away instead of burning the place down. And it's the hardest fucking thing I've ever done. I went back to work. Sat at my desk, pretending to give a damn about back-end stability and JIRA tickets. Smiled at meetings. Laughed at dumb Slack emojis. And every night, I went home and sat in an apartment that felt haunted. Not by ghosts, by a version of myself that was too damn forgiving. Then Tyler's voice came back. Not in my head. On Spotify. Yeah, another podcast episode. Oh, title. Boundaries versus Control When Love Feels Like a Prison. I hit play before I even realized what I was doing. He starts talking about how some people confuse love with ownership, and how partners who can't handle emotional intimacy often lash out when their partners have close friendships. I swear to God, I saw red. Then came this gem. And sometimes, when people ask for paternity tests, it's not because they care, it's because they want leverage. He didn't name me. But everyone who knew Madison, who knew their vibe, knew exactly who the fuck he was talking about. Slick. Real slick. So I did something I didn't expect from myself. I opened a blank Google Doc, and I started writing, not a blog post, not some call-out thread, just my version. Everything. The gaslighting. The FaceTime calls. The emotional affair turned physical. The pregnancy bomb. The podcast reveal. The test. The silence. The everything. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I just needed it out of me. Took me 2 nights, 3 beers, 1 mini breakdown, but I finished it. And then I did something even weirder. I recorded it. Voice memo, straight from my phone. No editing. No fake radio voice. Just me, talking. Quiet. Tired. Honest. I uploaded it to a blank podcast feed under the title The Other Side. Description. I was called controlling, jealous, insecure. I was told I couldn't handle her light. But here's what actually happened. No promo, no hashtags, no drama. I left it. Thought maybe 5 people would hear it. Woke up the next day to 12K listens. By the weekend, 187,000. Turns out, people relate to the quiet ones finally speaking up. I started getting emails. Messages from strangers. Guys saying, "Bro, I lived this too." Women saying, "This is why emotional cheating fucks people up just as much." Even therapists reached out asking if they could use clips for educational breakdowns. Wild. Meanwhile, Madison posted some cryptic Instagram story about how sad it is when people can't move on. With the crying selfie, of course. Tyler radio silence. Not a peep. Guess the karma train finally hit his ass on the way back around. But this wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about reclaiming the version of myself I'd buried under all the second chances. I started journaling, working out again, actually sleeping. I unfollowed mutuals, left group chats, changed my damn coffee order. Small things, but they added up. I went back to therapy too. Sat on that couch and said, I don't want to be bitter. But I don't want to be naive again either. My therapist smiled, said, "That's growth talking." Cool. Because I was done being the nice guy who keeps the peace while his life crumbles. I was done swallowing everything just to avoid being called toxic. Funny how that word gets thrown around the second a man asks for respect. Tyler thought he was clever, thought hiding behind a microphone made him untouchable. But here's the thing about passive-aggressive shade. Once the truth drops, it hits harder. And unlike him, I didn't have to call names, didn't have to subtweet in audio form. I just told the story, and people listened. Now I get it, some people won't ever believe my side. They'll think I'm just bitter, that I'm weaponizing heartbreak, that I should have just let it go. Let me be clear, I did let go. I let go of a version of myself that tolerated confusion as love. I let go of the idea that loyalty means silence. And I let go of the fear that telling my truth makes me the bad guy. Madison never reached out again. Not directly. Anyway, I heard from someone that she tried to do damage control. Said Ethan was always sensitive. Cool. I'd rather be sensitive than spineless. Last night, I walked past the old cafe we used to go to. They had new chairs, new barista. And for once, I didn't flinch. Didn't remember her order, didn't hear her laugh in my head. I just ordered a coffee, sat outside, watched the sun go down, and felt something I hadn't in a long time. Stillness. Not because everything was fixed, but because I was finally done breaking myself to make someone else feel whole. 2 weeks went by. 2 weeks of random DMs. New follows. Comments like, "You spoke for so many of us." Or finally, a guy telling the truth without trying to sound like a martyr. It was weird. I'd never been seen like this before. And not for anything flashy. Just for being honest about what broke me. I posted a second episode. Not dramatic, just called it Aftermath. Talked about how you don't always get closure from people, you get it from clarity. Talked about what it's like waking up and not immediately checking if she texted. How weird it is to walk around without that constant pit in your stomach. The kind that always whispers something's wrong, even when everything looks fine. That one blew up even bigger. It was on Reddit by day 2. R best of Redditor updates. R off my chest. TikTok montages with dramatic piano covers. Apparently, my voice is soothing. Weird. Then, Thursday night, I got the message. Private number, no name. I saw what you posted. I don't even know what to say. I stared at it for a long time. It had to be her. The timing, the guilt, the phrasing. Classic Madison. I didn't reply. The next day, another one. I didn't know people would take your side like that. That one hit different. Not, "I'm sorry for what I did." Not, "I hurt you and I regret it." Just, "People believe you and it makes me uncomfortable." I left it on read. Then came the full message. 2 days later. An email. Not a text. A fucking novella of backpedaling and emotional hand-wringing. Subject, "I just want to clear the air." Body. "Hey. I know you probably hate me. I don't blame you. I listened to your podcast. I read the comments. I know how people are seeing me now. And it's hard. But I never meant to hurt you. I was confused. I didn't know how to let go of something that felt familiar, Tyler, and something that felt stable, you. I thought I could manage both without causing damage. And clearly I was wrong. I know I lied. I know I broke trust. I didn't expect it to all go so public. If you want to talk, I'm here. No apology. Just a vague, "Oops, I got caught and people are mad now." I didn't respond. I didn't even draft one. But I did screenshot it, just for me. Just as proof that she finally admitted to at least some part of the mess. Then I did something petty. Maybe too petty. I wrote a new episode. Didn't mention her name. Didn't mention the email. I just titled it, "When They Only Regret the Fallout, Not the Fire." It was about fake apologies. The kind that aren't about you, they're about salvaging their own image. I didn't even raise my voice in it. Just told stories. Reflected. Let it breathe. That one went viral in 36 hours. People were sending me clips of influencers quoting my line. Some people only feel sorry when their mask slips, not for the lies they told wearing it. Kind of wild. Watching your hurt turn into someone else's empowerment. And yeah, I started feeling powerful. Not revenge plot powerful, but like in control of my narrative powerful. Madison didn't write again, but Tyler did. Yep, out of fucking nowhere. DM'd me from a burner account. Real original. This isn't how adults handle breakups. Bro, you're doing all this for clout. I didn't even reply. He blocked me 10 minutes later, LMAO. But I remembered something my therapist said back when I first started going. The people who scream, "Don't air dirty laundry," are usually the ones who look bad when the truth comes out. Anyway, I was doing fine. Better, even. I was healing. Then something unexpected happened. My boss pulled me into a meeting. Thought I was in trouble. But instead, he says, "Listen, I heard your podcast. My wife sent it to me. Said it helped her understand how her brother processed his divorce." I froze. "Don't worry," he added. "I'm not mad. Actually, I'm impressed. Most people wouldn't be that brave." Then he offered me something wild. An internal role. Leading a new project focused on building out a mental health support app. Real product, real funding. "You've got a voice people connect with," he said. "Why not use it?" I walked out of that meeting feeling like I'd stepped into someone else's life. Like all this heartbreak, all this shit I thought would destroy me, might have cracked open something bigger. By now, the other side had over 2 million listens. People started asking me to guest on their shows, to talk more, to share more. And part of me felt guilty. Like, am I capitalizing on pain? But then I got a message that changed everything. From a 17-year-old kid in Chicago. "Hey, my dad used to tell me guys don't cry. Don't talk. Just suck it up. But I heard your podcast, and for the first time, I don't feel ashamed for feeling things. Thank you." That's when I knew I wasn't doing this for Madison. Not anymore. Not even for revenge. I was doing it because no one ever handed me a blueprint for emotional survival. And now that I had one, I wanted to pass it on. That night, I recorded episode 5. Called it "Closure is a Solo Mission." I talked about how healing doesn't come from the people who broke you. It comes from what you do after they're gone. It wasn't angry. It wasn't bitter. It was real. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't looking back. It's moving so far ahead, they can't even recognize you anymore. 3 months went by. I didn't hear from Madison. Not directly. But mutuals, yeah, they talked. Apparently, she moved out of her apartment and went to stay with her sister in Seattle. Stepped back from social media. Claimed she needed space to reset. Funny how people suddenly discover self-care the second they lose control of the narrative. Tyler, meanwhile, was basically off the grid. His podcast numbers tanked. Sponsors bailed. One of his episodes even got flagged for emotional manipulation and misinformation. Guess being a self-proclaimed emotional guru backfires when receipts start dropping. I didn't gloat. Okay, I did a little, but it didn't feel as good as I thought it would. That's the weirdest part of healing. There's no final boss fight. No one stands in front of you and says, "You've won." You just keep moving. And one day, the pain gets quieter. Not gone, just quieter. The podcast was still going strong. I posted every couple weeks now. Slowed the pace down. Focused more on recovery stuff, boundaries. Grief. Rebuilding trust in yourself. Less drama. More depth. People stayed. Actually, the audience grew. And the thing is, I started to enjoy it. Not the attention, but the conversations. Real, messy, human conversations. Then it happened. Saturday afternoon. I was at a small creator panel in Austin, talking to a group of maybe 40 people about storytelling and vulnerability. I was halfway through explaining how sometimes we tell our stories not to get validation but to take back power when I saw her. Back of the room, hoodie up, sunglasses halfway off. "Madison?" My brain froze mid-sentence. My mouth kept talking, but I couldn't hear a damn word of it. Afterward, I ducked out back, trying to catch my breath. Thought maybe I hallucinated it. Thought maybe my brain was just playing games again. Then I heard her voice. "Ethan." I turned around. She looked different. Not bad. Not messy. Just tired. Softer. Like someone who'd cried a lot recently and finally gave up trying to hide it. "Hey," she said. I didn't say anything, just stared. She shifted on her feet. Looked like she wanted to run. "I'm not here to start anything," she said quickly. "I didn't even plan to come. I just, I saw you were speaking. I wanted to hear it from you. Not from Spotify. Not Reddit." I waited. She pulled her hoodie down, took a breath. "You were right," she said. "About everything. About me. About Tyler. About what I did. I lied. I cheated. I manipulated. I made you feel like you were the problem when really, I was just scared to admit I didn't deserve what you gave me." I blinked. That was the first real apology I'd ever heard from her. No deflection, no PR speak, no damage control. "I know it's late," she added, her voice shaking. "And I don't expect anything. Not forgiveness, not friendship. I just wanted to say it. Out loud. To your face." And then she looked me dead in the eye and said, "I'm sorry I let you think you weren't enough. You were more than enough. I just wasn't ready for someone real." I didn't know what to say. My hands were in my pockets. My throat was dry. But deep inside, where that gnawing ache used to live, I felt something shift. Not closure, not peace, just understanding. She stepped back like she was going to leave. But I finally spoke. "Wait." She froze. "I appreciate you saying that." I said, "Truly." I wasn't sure I'd ever hear those words. She nodded. "But," I continued, "this doesn't fix it. And it doesn't mean we're okay. It just means, now I know you're not pretending it never happened." "I know," she said. "I'm not asking for anything." Then I surprised myself. I walked closer. Not too close. Just enough to really look at her. "You were right too," I said. "You didn't deserve what I gave you. But I don't regret giving it. Because now I know exactly what I'm worth." She covered her mouth, started crying. "I'm sorry," she said again. I didn't say it back. Because forgiveness doesn't mean reunion. And healing doesn't mean forgetting. It just means choosing not to let the wreckage define you. She wiped her eyes. Smiled, sort of. Sad, but genuine. "I'm really happy for you," she said. I believed her. She left. Just like that. No hug. No long goodbye. No maybe one day. And I stood there for a long time, letting the moment settle. Then I walked back inside. Finished the event. Took pictures with people. Signed a few books someone had printed out from my podcast transcripts. Later that night, I recorded a new episode. Didn't talk about her. Didn't even mention what happened. I just said, sometimes the apology comes long after you needed it. And sometimes, by then, you've already healed. You don't owe anyone your pain just because they finally feel theirs. I hit upload. Closed my laptop. Went to bed. And for the first time since this all started, I didn't dream about her.